It was a special game day for UAB as the Blazers held their annual homecoming game, celebrating patience at Children's Harbor. But they also took time to honor Allen Merrick, a freshman linebacker who signed with the Blazers 2020 class and should have been dressed in green and gold today. Instead, Allen's mother, Katrina Merrick, was at Legion Field receiving her son's number 49 jersey after he tragically passed away less than a month before the season. I sat down with Katrina, her daughters, and his former coaches to learn about the legacy and life of Allen Merrick.
I always took all their pictures. I purchased all their pictures, but I was one of the moms. I wanted to give them out, but then I was like, I didn't want to give them out. So I kept them all. Really happy that I was able to salvage those pictures because it was in a container at home. And our home in New Orleans had like 4 feet of mold in it.
Katrina Merrick and her children are survivors. 15 years ago, the Merricks, alongside hundreds of thousands of others, were forced to start over after Hurricane Katrina ripped through their New Orleans home. A box of pictures was among the only items salvaged.
This is Joy Needs.
The family moved to Gadsden, where they rebuilt life, not only after losing their home, but also Katrina's husband, Allen Merrick Sr., who died from ALS.
Though my dad stepped in and became their dad as well as their grandfather. My dad passed away in 2012, and that's when Allen really stepped up and became the father figure of the house, the man of the house.
Katrina's only son, Allen Manuel Merrick Jr., was just 11 years old when he was tasked with taking care of his 3 sisters and mom.
He never complained about anything. He always wanted to do something for everybody.
He's just the heart of the family. He's the only boy, so it's like, we as women just kind of cling to him because we just ask him for so much.
Baby brother Allen quickly became big brother, and in middle school, he towered above his classmates on the football field.
We was kind of keeping up with his height. It's like, okay, well, you come to my shoulder right now. A couple of years later, like, you above my shoulder now.
Allen's football coaches took notice too.
He was slimmed down because he was number 17 and he was a wide receiver. He said, well, Coach Session wants me to be a linebacker.
Bart Sessions coached Allen for 2 years at Gadsden City High School and realized his 6'2", 250-pound receiver would be better suited on defense.
Called him into my office and he came in and sat down and he and I had a conversation about it, and to be quite honest with you, it didn't go quite the way I expected. I mean, he was very upset. I called his mother and told her he was upset with me and was going to come home upset with me.
I said, well, you know what, son? You're going to be the best one. I said, because I already know that you great at no matter what you do, you put your mind to it, you're going to do it.
And that's exactly what he did. In less than a year, Allen became one of the top defensive players in the state and had more than 20 scholarship offers to show for it. Last December, he made his college decision.
It's just like a family though. Like, I feel like I go there, it's just like being here.
Allen chose to stay close to home, signing with UAB, just an hour away from the person that meant the most.
Me and my mom are like best friends, so she used to come bother me every now and then,
Allen made the short trip from Gadsden to Birmingham to begin his first college workouts.
It was the guy we thought, it was just kind of this gentle giant that, very quiet, all the things we saw in his recruiting, but when you got on the field, you saw that other side of it.
Less than a month before fulfilling his dream of playing college football, Allen took a couple days off from practice because he wasn't feeling well.
Coach Clark allowed him to come home. They thought enough of me as his mom to give him that motherly love, that TLC, but he was going to go back that Sunday.
Just days before Allen was scheduled to go back to Birmingham, Katrina Merrick was finishing her workday, eager to get home to her son in Gadsden.
And that's when I got a phone call, and it was letting me know certain parts of it and stuff, and I didn't understand.
On the other end of the call was the mother of one of Allen's best friends, telling Katrina that her son had been gravely injured by a gunshot.
My mom calls me and she tells me the news, and I'm like, I kept saying, what? like, you know, that's unbelievable. Like, who would do something like that?
The next few hours are a blur for the Merrick family. Allen was airlifted from Gadsden to UAB Hospital, where he went into emergency surgery.
I was trying to figure out how to get to the hospital, and I could not figure out how to get to the hospital.
She showed up at our building, and we were in meetings, so we all ended up over at the hospital together. Thank God, you know, we were able to be there together because she, you know, the only family she had was her daughters.
At the hospital, UAB doctors delivered the most horrific news any mother, sister, or coach could ever receive.
I said, what are you saying right now? What are you telling us? And he told us, he said, I'm telling you, this is the end of his life. We get to his room and we're calling out his name. Allen, wake up. His heart was beating just fine. He had a strong heart the whole time, but what happened was it wound up piercing through the midbrain, and his brain wasn't sending signals to the rest of his body.
Allen Manuel Merrick Jr. died Friday morning, August 14th, at UAB Hospital. He was just 19 years old.
I always say I have a four-chamber heart, and each of my children has one of those chambers. And when they took my baby, that part of my heart is gone. I refuse to think of him in the past tense because I feel like he's at school and he's gonna come through the door and he's gonna give me a big hug.
In place of hugs from her only son, Katrina Merrick is left with questions. Gadsden police have released very few details regarding Allen's death. All they've said is that it appears to be accidental.
Justice needs to be served. You can't take someone's life and then just move on like it never happened. People need to face consequences. They need to be held accountable for their actions.
Allen Merrick! Say his name! Allen Merrick!
Friends and family of Allen Merrick won't go down without a fight for justice. Many of his loved ones gathered in Gadsden for an anti-gun violence march.
This one, how it was supposed to be, like we supposed to be going to the games and stuff, but right now I'm just trying to push the issue to get justice, to show that his lives matter, and it's going to live through me and his mom and his sisters, and I'm going to make sure it gets done, I promise.
Because of the senseless actions of others, Katrina Merrick never had the opportunity to see her son play college football.
I prayed to God for him, and it gave me my son, but he was taken from me. It should not have happened, and I felt like it was a reckless act, and he deserved to be here. He deserved to be living his life and enjoying life.
You know, it's hard, to be honest with you, to deal with someone that's as quality of a person as him taken from us this young.
That was the first thing you saw, was what kind of person he was. You know, you heard it from his coaches, you heard it from his teachers. I'm gonna remember him for that. I'll remember him out on the field, and just a great young man whose life was ended too short.
Katrina Merrick and her daughters are survivors and will continue to try to rebuild life after loss.
We lost everything in Hurricane Katrina. We came to Gadsden, a place where we thought was safe, and it doesn't feel safe to us anymore. It doesn't feel like home. I've always told people I had to love my babies twice as hard. I had to love them as a mother. I had to protect them as a father. And I feel like I let them down because my baby is not, he's just not here.
Katrina Merrick told me that Bill Clark and other members of the UAB coaching staff continue to keep in touch with their family, staying true to their commitment Once a Blazer, always a Blazer.